Greetings and salutations, I'm Keb. Welcome back to this Let's Play of 80 Days. Onwards! Oh, we can't actually travel with all our luggage. That is unfortunate. So we have to go to the market, which is now closed. Ah, okay, fine, so we can't actually depart. This is the problem. We have too many items. We can't buy more of these things. So you have to throw things out. I'm going to throw away the Caribbean type table. I want to keep the engineer set. I want to keep that. Already ruined the Englishman's wardrobe, I might as well toss these items out. I'm going to toss the apples out. And that. And this is a problem, because while we rearrange our suitcases like this, the clock is ticking. So that's usually not something you can do. But now I have the Dusty Road kit thing, so Fogg's health won't go down as much. And as you can see, his health is dropping. We hired our friend Michael from the journey onward from Vienna to Budapest. The road followed the rail tracks for much of the way, but we saw no trains as we chuffed along. Converse. Oh, okay. Shaving kit, because that improves his health, because we had the items. Let's talk about his health. Roaring health, that's fine. We arrived in the evening without incident. Relations with Fogg have strengthened. So now we're in Budapest. How do we get from here, I wonder? This will sell well here. Let's sell it there. I'm not going to go to Khartoum, so I'll sell that, I think. Do we want to go to Moscow? No, I don't think so. I'm set to go the southern route. Do we have paths ahead? The Orient Express to Athens. Well, that's in the morning. Okay, back to Budapest. Come on. There we go. Let's explore. And exploring will reveal all routes, by the way. All normal routes, at least. It took a few hours to explore, investigating the various options of how we might continue our journey. And we learned nothing new. So again, we have this option to go, but only 8 AM tomorrow. And as you can see, we can have 2 suitcases with a no health drop. And I guess that's where we have to go. But again, we're going to lose yet one more day. And we are on a timetable here, you have to remember. We have to reach London again. Within 80 days. A dusty-jacketed Englishman at our hotel recommended a restaurant called Clemens to Monsieur Fogg. The Magyars make an excellent broth, he promised. Ominous words indeed. I had never really been one for broth. A broth is, in my humble opinion, merely an incomplete consommé, at best an inferior bouillon. Monsieur Fogg was set on the matter, however. I concealed my trepidation with professionalism. We settled to dinner at Kiemen's, where our soup arrived in a gleaming silver tureen. My master, a man of impeccably high standards, even remarked upon the tureens' flawless polish. At which point it exploded, splattering myself, Monsieur Fogg, an extremely bewildered waiter in admittedly delicious salmon broth. And as you can see, his health went down as well. A fellow diner had been struck by the edge of the tureen lid and was bleeding from the temple. I don't have some choices here. I rushed to his aid, pressing a napkin to his head while my master looked upon unperturbed. The head chef had, by this time, emerged from the kitchen. He pointed towards the wall and began a voluble rant which needed little translation. The broth had splattered the ivory wall in the intricately curved shape of a lily, unmistakably the symbol of the Artificers' Guild. So yeah, here we see the conflict between the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Artificers' Guild. There's a lot of these little stories that you can wade through. I examined the ruined tureen. Right at the bottom was a tiny automaton, the size and shape of a scarab beetle. It was rather clogged with soup and a bit dented, but its metal legs were still kicking. Clearly, it was responsible for the symbolically exploding soup. I pocketed it swiftly, while everyone's attention was otherwise occupied. It had the same lily etched into its hammered thin wings. I looked around at the chaos caused by a single bowl of exploding soup. What did you do to the guild? One orator sighed. They were banned by the Emperor, so we could make our own imperial automata outside of their control. The guild is growing more vocal in their objections. Personally, I thought that the Austro-Hungarian Empire was a fool. The guild was more powerful than any empire and certainly more widespread. It was only a matter of time before the guild brought Austro-Hungary to the negotiating table, or else its knees. We stayed for the main course, of course, but did not enjoy it. The incident had rather shaken my confidence, and I could see even my master was concerned. How many more exploding broths could our precarious journey survive? Your funds have gone down a little. That's fine. Now we have another item. A scarab, which is worth a lot of money in Antalya. And so is this item, so we have to try to make our way there. Oh yeah, we have to go now, because trains. How do I get there? I don't know. Maybe there is a route from Athens. Let's find out. Go. And since the train departs in just a few minutes, I don't want to wait. There is a risk to pondering in this game, unless you stop the clock. Okay, today we turned south. The Orient Express company ran a spur line from Budapest that swept down the length of Europe to Athens. It originally stopped midway at Belgrade. And yeah, to stop at Belgrade you have to do quite a few other adventures, by the way. But since that city's almost total destruction in the last confrontation between the Austro-Hungarians and the Ottomans, the train now went straight through. It was a wonder there were not more bombs placed abroad continental trains such as these. And we are going to converse, because I wanted to see if we can find a route from Athens to Antalya, please. Via Izmir, okay. Athens to Izmir. From here to go. Okay, fine, you can't actually tell that. What about Antalya itself? You are holiday makers? No, we're not. Going around the world. Talking about Izmir. Okay, Izmir to Istanbul. Istanbul to Lahore. Okay, Istanbul to Sofia. Okay, fine, we learned. Okay. So we learned a few more routes. Here and there. And since we sold that map of the Caribbean routes, we no longer have those routes, by the way. But I usually prefer not to have those tables, because it's better to just learn the routes the normal way, then they won't ever go away. Despite knowing to expect it, I could not help but gasp as we swept through this empty husk of Belgrade. It seemed home only to ghosts. Trees and bushes grew from the tall buildings, and through empty window frames, but we did not spy a single human being. Quite what had happened no one truly knew. The roads, houses, viaducts were all still standing, the gas lamps still burned, but not a single voice cried out, and not a door or shutter moved. I asked Monsieur Fogg his thoughts, and he sighed. I fear that our age is seeing a great experimentation in warfare, much as in every other walk of life. I fear so. Indeed, he replied, but at least the trains move faster. His answer seemed to make me as bleak as Belgrade itself, but as the Orient Express left it behind, it carried us towards a long evening of gentle wines and candlelights. Which went some way towards lightening the soul. Yeah. When in doubt, drink, I suppose. Okay, converse. Oh, only Fogg, boo. Shaving kit then. That allows us at least to improve his health a little bit. We are very well funded indeed. Yeah. Yes, we are. We have barely begun. So we're doing good on money, but we're not doing so good on time. Day 10, we still haven't left Europe. And travel in Europe is much faster than the rest of the world, by the way. We arrived at Thessaloniki station in northern Greece in the morning. A few passengers disembarked, and we have the choice to do the same thing, because then we can head to Istanbul, for example. But we stayed put, intending to reach Athens and then take one of the many sea routes into Turkey or Egypt. The journey to Athens took the rest of the day. I think the gauge of the rails grew narrower as it negotiated the winding cliffsides of Greece. This country appears to be entirely made of coastline. A more delightful spot I cannot imagine. We were well catered for, and of course arrived feeling more refreshed. So by saying this was a good place, Fogg agreed. His health improved. That's good. So now we are at Athens. Let's quickly go into the market. Alright, that was more in Anatolia. Ha'il, that's down in... my goodness, we're not going to go to Russia, but I'm going to buy this. And the elastic wallet. I'm not going to go to Ha'il, that's down in Africa somewhere, I think. Depart, can we go now? No, tomorrow before 7 PM. So I just missed it again, because I went to fondle about on the market. Boo! That's another day lost. And we can't explore. Let's pass the night. My master was not, as a rule, particularly interested in the fabulous locales and exotic cities we journeyed through. Athens was the exception that proved the rule. His sudden interest was not limited to the city. He fixed me with a look. Do you speak Greek? I did, though I will not go into the circumstances. As you can see, the circumstances are there. Most likely, yeah. Of how exactly I came to learn the tongue here. Mais oui, monsieur, I smiled sharply, repeating a few of the phrases I had, shall we say, picked up. Monsieur Fogg blushed vermilion. That, Passepartout, he cleared his throat, is a very specialized vocabulary. Despite my master's grasp of ancient Greek, the demotic variant, more commonly spoken on the streets, eluded him. We were reduced to asking for directions through a combination of mime, moi, apposite quotations from Homer, my master, and half-remembered flattery, moi encore. We picked our way through the labyrinthine streets of the Plaka and up to the Acropolis. I gazed at the Parthenon columns. It was a magnificent sight, even in ruins. I could only imagine how it must have looked 2,000 years ago, the jewel in the crown of the Athenian Empire. It is exquisite, I breathed, interrupting Mr. Fogg's silent reverie without quite meaning to. See, now he pissed him off. Alas, our quiet companionable moment did not return. As we stood admiring the architecture, I was rudely knocked into by a small man with thick glasses. I caught his arm in case he should fall, and he smiled and thanked me quickly. My apologies, he murmured. Too occupied with the sight, perhaps? I suggested cheerfully, and the man smiled. I have seen it many times before, though yes, it is most impressive. He put out his hand to shake. Dmitri Sophos, I am the owner of a modest shipping freight company based here. The Then perhaps you can help us. We are going around the world. Sofa smiled and pulled a pamphlet from his jacket that detailed the routes and timings of his company. The one of our most interest was a boat sailing to Cairo, which was leaving the next day. I thanked him and promised to... no, actually, we're not going this way. I thanked him, though it seemed unlikely we would take it. He beamed and wobbled away. A man with sea legs, I observed. Monsieur Fogg, still gazing longingly at the Parthenon, did not reply. I doubt he noted a word of the entire exchange. And since we didn't stay quiet, he got mad at us. Boo. But at least now we'd launched a few more sea routes, especially one straight to Cairo. These are all his shipping routes, but we were not going those ways. We were departing here. I could explore, actually. This is by... I don't know. Oh, actually, let's go. We can go, so let's go. And hire extra space, that's fine, go. First trip by sea. An Aegean ferry. We boarded the daily ferry across the Aegean Sea, and then... sat out on the deck, enjoying the sunshine. Getting some much needed rest, so if he had not had 100 health, he would be improved slightly at that. Converse, again, it's just Fogg we can talk to right now. Talk about Izmir. Okay, fine. Talk about Beirut. Talk about Alexandria. So sometimes Fogg actually knows things. I'm not going to read those dialogues, as you probably noticed, because they are fairly randomized and stuff. Other passengers milled around, talking loudly and drinking ouzo while chilled by chips of ice, carved from blocks in the hold of the ship. The boat had the air of a market cafe, or the gathered crowd before a concert. Clearly, sunshine is good for the soul. Otherwise, I spent my time in conversation, hoping to gather information for our next journey, and I picked up a remarkably energetic Persian gentleman that that a lost city stands in the desert between Beirut and Baghdad. Lost city, huh? Another rumor. There are quite a few of those. We are maybe gonna go through the jungle or deserts. So let's get desert stuff. That's fine. Heavy storm. We have 3 suitcases. Might as well buy stuff. And there are no current routes available. So back to Izmir. We're gonna have to explore. You can only explore early in the day, I think. So we have to do that quickly too. The port of Smyrna, or Izmir, as the locals called it, was the gateway to the Ottoman trade with Europe. The British and French had their own consulates and private quays, but there were also Dutch and Venetian flags amongst the fleets of trade ships and dirigibles. I roamed the dock inquiring on onward passage from the fishermen and merchants, but with little success, until I began to tell a desperate story of how my master and I were on the run from my master's murderous wife, who, having married a gentleman for his money, now wished to have the free spending of it that comes from a cleanly executed murder. They fell for it hook, line and sinker, obviously. I'm quite sure. One gestured towards his trawler. I'll take you, he grumbled. I sail to Antalya tomorrow. I told him that we would return first thing, and took my leave as the sun began to set. Cloaked members of the Artificer Guild appeared to light the glass lamps around the harbour front. A sailor played a tune on the lyre, while his compatriots sang along. It was going to be a beautiful night in Izmir. Was it now? But there we go, now we have a route to Antalya, which will go in the morning, right? Tomorrow, 8 AM. 3 luggage... Okay, we have room for three suitcases. We don't have to shuffle things out of the bags. Night at the hotel. I took a brief turn about the docks once more, as the moon rose, and came across a few grizzled souls playing dominoes. I watched them play, but could make nothing of it. There appeared to be strategies and counterplays, but it seemed as random as a game of Find the Lady. A despicable pastime. Okay, we're gonna go. We have a route to Antalya. Let's go. Because we have some items, we lost less health, as far as I could tell there. Didn't look too closely, because we had to depart before the clock went out. So we boarded a small boat that smelled of various kinds of fish, and which put out from port at first light. Let's see, converse with a fisherman, I think. Yeah. We're going to talk about the route from Antalya to Cairo. Cairo to... Oh my. How do I get from Cairo to, say, Riyadh? Bank in Riyadh has gone bankrupt. So, in Riyadh there won't be any bank. Perhaps. Let's see. To... Luxor? Okay. And from Luxor to... Suez, maybe? Quickest way to Suez from here is via Beirut. Okay. So we learned a few more routes. Some of them we can't take, of course, but I don't think we can make our way from here to Astrakhan, for example. Still, I could have been a fisherman. The gentle tug of the line. Such a tiny signal, but when correctly read, so satisfying. The free-flowing beer that greases the line. The pleasant work of skinning and gutting the catch as it lands on the deck before it can flop away. Yeah, this is the kind of conversation that Fogg doesn't like, but hey. Yes, I could have been a fisherman. But sadly, I had the misfortune to become an acrobat at an early age, and after that, a valet. When I finally left the deck and went below to attend my master, he merely averted his nostrils, declaring, "Passepartout, you smell of fish." Ah, the winding paths a life's take. Your character is now superior. And again, I don't recall exactly how high and low on the scale this character thing is, but... there is a spreadsheet for it out there, if you want to inquire about all the possible states of your character. You're quite the flamboyant type, I see. Converse, we can do one more conversation. Greetings, Captain Dukov. Antalya to Beirut. That's okay. Beirut to Baghdad, maybe? What about Jeddah? Talk a lot, don't you? Yes, I do. We have to learn where we can go. We need to know ahead of time, preferably. We rounded the coast of Turkey, clinging to the shore. We saw several other boats plying the waters. Some fishing vessels, some ferries. I asked one of the fishermen about them, and he shrugged and grizzled shrug. Busy little place this. Water's the quickest way to anywhere. Except the airships, another put in, but they're all private from Antalya. You can't get aboard unless you know the right people. A few hours later we were on the dry land once more. A bath, Monsieur Fogg murmured. I must have a bath. He didn't like me having to travel on a fishing boat. Yes, indeed, some are items sold for quite a lot of money here. Let's do that. Dang it, clock is ticking. Alexandria, Beirut. We can't make it to Alexandria, can we? Let's go with the Eastern Spices. I have no idea. Probably a horrible idea. Oh, we have to go to Beirut anyway. And that leaves tomorrow at 11. Okay, fine. So we could have traded more. Is there anything I want to sell? Cairo, Riyadh and Tehran. I don't know. We're not going to need the European train tables anymore. That could be useful, I suppose. That has some value, maybe. Let's go with that for now. I don't want to have more suitcases than we currently have. And now we just spend the nights again. I spent my afternoon rambling around Kalechi, the historical center of Antalya, which was where I happened upon a group of Turkish dockhands unloading crates of Venetian goods into a warehouse flying the French flag. They had a passable grasp of French, no doubt a prerequisite of working for their French employer, one Monsieur Fontaine. Though we've never met him, one of them added bitterly. Is he a good employer? I asked politely, simply to make small talk. Alas, my innocent inquiry was not taken as such. Why do you ask? A dockhand fired back, crossing his arms. Perhaps you are Monsieur Fontaine. So now we can pretend to be Monsieur Fontaine. Remember the hint we got a moment ago about airships being in private ownership? Maybe we should become Monsieur Fontaine and take an airship somewhere. Nah, we're honest, right? My name is Passepartout. I protested. A likely story was their retort. That is not even a real name. A most hurtful accusation. So I revenged myself by threatening to cut their pay. They apologized quickly. I gave a booming laugh, the sort that the Monsieur Fontaine of my imaginings would boom. Such an empathetic fellow he was, prone to making friends, and acts of random generosity. Alas, my invented backstory saw me doling out banknotes to these dockhands quite haphazardly. Thus I was ensconced in my role. I spent a cheerful, if deceptive afternoon getting to know my employees and inspecting the merchandise. They cracked open a crate to reveal a treasure trove of Venetian glass, glittering blue-green in the Anatolian sun. Ooh. I pocketed a particularly fine piece before they bid me a respectful farewell. Okay, so now we paid them money, but we stole an item. Fogg likes us more for whatever reason, and our character changed to courageous. I have no idea if that's going to be up or down or wherever on the scale of things. But that means we have not yet another darn item, and that's only valuable in one particular town. We're gonna get rid of the elastic wallet. And it is morning, we have to depart. We can go all the way to Cairo in one step. Did we have items that were sold en route? Yes, we did. You know what, I'm gonna go straight to Cairo. Even if we had other items. I mean, we already have so much money. We have tons and tons of... We started out with £4,000, so we have nearly quintupled our funds. And by the way, we also reached the end of the episode. I think it's time for a break, and we'll continue next time. Thank you for watching.